Hello and welcome, guys, to the channel. I have a video today about red pill. If you're not familiar with that term, it's a pretty good video. This guy goes over what it means, what its effects are on men, and how men are reacting to what's going on. I just found it really interesting. I don't agree with everything the guy says, but he's very thorough. I got this clip from Kira TV. I'll put the link in the description so you guys can watch the whole video. I'm probably going to go through about 10 minutes of it and then maybe make a second video about the other part. I don't want to go too long, but it's very interesting. Let's see what you guys think. Let me know in the comments and we'll get started. Let's go.
If there's one thing that the internet has taught me, it's that you can monetize just about anything.
Ice cream so good, yes, popcorn. Ice cream so good.
Imagine my lack of surprise when people monetized the epidemic of sad and lonely men.
Hustle University is the greatest thing that exists on the face of the planet.
That's what I want to teach you on this course.
Unplugging from the matrix of fitness and game.
And you might be thinking, oh, how big is this? Well, business is booming. Dozens of people, loads of YouTube channels that are earning millions of dollars a year selling a lie, claiming to have answers to a very real problem, but just making everything worse. So let's go on a journey together. I'm going to put on my Morpheus cosplay and hand you that red pill. We're going down the rabbit hole of truth. I'm red pilling the red pill and breaking these lonely, desperate men out of their Andrew Tate worshipping mind matrix. What is the red pill? How did we get here? Why does it exist? And who cares? All very important questions, but let's tackle them in order of importance. So what is the red pill? The red pill has been many things. Originally, it was an allegory for transgender, according to the creator of the term, Lily Wachowski, who popularized it in The Matrix. However, and very ironically, now the red pill is used by a group of predominantly men who co-opt it as an ideology around how to live life, specifically about the real truth of society and their place within it. This mostly pertains to masculinity, conspiracy theories, making money, and women. The red pill.
So the red pill, it's taken from the Matrix, I guess, and in the Matrix, you're waking up to what's really going on. You're living kind of like in the dream world, and you wake up to reality. And I guess they co-opted it, to deal with relationships between men and women. And they're showing Andrew Tate, they're showing a lot of red pill content creators, and I guess his take is that they have co-opted men being lonely, men not being able to get women, and they're using it to make money. And the content that they're creating is basically more detrimental to the dating scene or to men in general. So
pill is also not the only word that this movement goes by. It can also, in many popular spaces, be substituted with the word manosphere. If you've not heard of these things, you might be surprised to learn just how huge this movement is. So the question of how we got here comes down to one man, sort of.
Am I successful? Am I competent? Am I achieving things? Am I respected? If you start to look at these indicators of your life, you're going to end up being happier.
Now, I do need to say that Andrew Tate himself has said he isn't red pill and that he finds the whole concept and most of the people involved to be cringe, but his unwillingness to co-opt the term is irrelevant to the reality, and that is his talking points are almost identical to the whole space, and his popularity is what has accelerated the movement.
I think Andrew Tate probably is not red pill, but he has become the face of it. Andrew Tate has a lot of issues, a lot of problems. The way he made money, the way he came about. I don't believe he's a misogynist, or he's, he just has some extreme views about dating, about how men should should portray themselves, So I mean, I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but I do lean towards masculinity, taking care of yourself, making money, making yourself into something that is attractive to women, but then you got to go into what type of women, right? So there's a lot to it, so you can't just be like, oh, I love everything Andrew Tate says. He has some very controversial things that he's done to make money, and so let's move on.
And I do mean accelerated, because even without Andrew Tate or any other manosphere figurehead, this was an inevitability in modern society. We were already headed down this path. Andrew Tate was never the cause. He was simply the most prevalent symptom. Why do I say this? Well, let's answer the question of why it exists in the first place. It'll probably only take you a few minutes to Google search if you've not already seen these very shocking statistics when it comes to the rise of loneliness in men, especially young men. This is the real epidemic that is going to claim more lives than any contagious disease, and it's eroding the very foundation of modern society. For the record, this problem does not just envelop men, but it is more prevalent statistically for a multitude of reasons. On the face of it, men have less friends than ever before, they spend less time socializing with the friends that they do have than ever before, they're virgins for far longer, have sex less frequently overall, and they are self-deleting at an alarmingly high rate.
That's amazing. The suicide rates are very high, I agree. But kind of the things that he brings up, it is true that those things are happening, but I would really like to get to the end of this video and see what does he have any solutions? Does he have any hey, what should we do to make this trend start going the other direction? I don't think the red pill has much answers for these things, but these things are very important. Men are extremely important to how a functioning society that doesn't have all kinds of crime and just you need men. You need men because they're the protectors. They're the ones that are going to keep everything else in check. And if you have these men that are committing suicide and not being able to get women and not being able to the sex thing is just I just don't believe that more sex is the answer to anything. So let's move on.
With numbers trending upwards greater than ever before. They're also less likely to seek mental health assistance, more likely to turn to drugs or substance abuse to cope with these factors which don't even play into the self-deleting stat, and are overall becoming increasingly disenfranchised with the world, or most importantly, their place within it. So to answer the question of why Andrew Tate, why the Red Pill, why the Manosphere, Sneeko, podcasts like Fresh and Fit, the Red Pill Godfather, Rollo Tomasi, and many others exist, it's very simple. It's because they need to exist. Supply and demand. These people didn't just appear for no reason. They arrived at the right time with the right message. And that is obviously not me giving them my rubber stamp of approval, as I believe each one of the people I just listed, as well as the majority of the Manosphere space, is a counterintuitive detriment to young men's lives. For reasons that we'll mostly go over in the next section, this is just me saying that this movement didn't arrive overnight.
Okay, I kind of disagree with it's overall detrimental. Now, I can see their message being okay to a point, meaning that young men, boys, need to wake up to the fact that it is very competitive out there, and you need to work on yourself. You need to have a foundation. You need to have somewhere to work from so you can learn responsibility, learn to, take the responsibility of people relying on you, providing for others. That's where men get their value from. So I can see that if a boy grows up, he doesn't have a father, he's not taught these values, and then he goes and gets with a woman, and the woman, just completely runs him over because he doesn't know how to be this rock for a woman. He doesn't know how to develop into what he needs to be, and I think that's what it is. It's a lot of just stunted growth. No one's growing up until they're 25, 30 years old, but I just don't see. I see that a lot of these, like I've heard high value man, right? And that's what kind of like Andrew Tate and these guys tried to emulate, that they're a high value man. But in normal society, not everyone's going to be rich and drive a Bugatti and all these things. There's people that are just going to be poor, and they're going to live at that level of society their whole life. That doesn't mean they can't be respected by women. That doesn't mean that they can't provide for their families. That doesn't mean that they can't be great fathers and have values and character. That is what makes a man. The intangibles. It's not that you drive a nice car. It's not that you have the nicest things and the jewelry and this. I was telling someone the other day, you might be rich, but we have the same things. I have a wife, I have a family, I have a car, I have all. You might have nicer things, but that doesn't make it better. And I think a lot of this red pill stuff comes from materialism. The get more, and you win the game, I guess. But that's not true, and that's why this loneliness epidemic or this is happening, because men are focusing on things that do not fulfill them. They're focusing on things that are just gonna fall away. They're not gonna bring value. They're not gonna, you're not gonna have this sense of success. Success is not always getting the job, or it's raising a good son. It's being a good husband. It's things like that actually make this world go round.
For no reason and brainwash hundreds of millions of men, the male loneliness epidemic was already here. It's a cancer eating society. The manosphere presented itself as chemotherapy, bringing with it total destruction of the body, but without the added benefit of potentially eradicating the cancer. Not to say there are no good pieces of advice from any of these people, or a well-rationed person couldn't learn a few real truths from these spaces, such as eating right, exercising, socializing, and trying to better your situation financially.
Yeah.
But these few truths are things almost anybody could tell you, without the added baggage of what is adjacent to the grift of these male self-help gurus.
So true.
I'm of course talking about conspiracy theories and hatred.
Obesity comes from you Jews affecting our media
I'm
with
the
their
reason
fucking...
you're fat.
No, you guys brought McDonald's and all that shit.
One of the very few men on earth I do trust, good old Alex Jones. He said this
The guy that was talking there, I've heard of him. His name's Zerka. That dude's just an idiot. He's one of these guys. He reminds me of that does whatever he can just to get views. He'll say the most outrageous things just for a click. He's kind of silly.
2 months before 9/11.
They don't want you to be masculine. The biggest threat to their agenda is an independent, free-thinking man.
And to answer the last question of who cares, well, I know on social media nobody really cares about the fact that young men in particular are suffering, because it's cool to be inclusive and empathetic to everybody, except for those you deem to have power as a group, despite the fact that most average men have little to no power all over their own lives, let alone society. But you should care, because this is a reflection of that society. Not just that, But you probably have men in your lives as well that are struggling with things.
You know, it's a point where he says that most men realize they have little to no effect on their lives. You know, this is why when you realize that there are things in this world that are acting upon you that you have no idea about. You know, that's why I look at this red pill movement from a religious lens. You know, I'm a Christian. I look at these things, and it's like he said, some of these things they're saying is true, but they used to just be basic truths. And now that men, have like this loneliness and this hopelessness, these guys are filling the space, and they're telling them things that, they need to do this and they need to do that. It's not true. It's not true. When you're gonna attract the wrong type of female if all you do is focus on materialism. You have to focus on the intangibles, the things that most people don't even talk about anymore. Character, your virtues, your values, things that you believe in, that you will not compromise, you will not bend for anyone. Women find those things attractive. But sometimes, some of the women that, it's like sometimes the woman's job is to test you to see if you have these values, to see if you're willing to say, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. Oh, no, we're not going to go that far. Oh, no, I'm not going to allow you to do this to me. Those things, are very, very meaningful. But I don't think you're able to have a relationship like that or talk to a woman like that if you don't have that foundation. You can fake it, but if you don't have, someone in your life, a father, someone strong, someone that's showing you that example, and then, showing you, hey, this is the way you talk to people. This is the way you don't allow people to take advantage of you, especially a woman that, you find attractive, because, she might just keep going with it. And then you just lose all sense of your manhood, So, but yeah, it's a big deal, man. Men's mental health, I think a lot of people think it's a joke, but it's true. Men don't talk about their problems. They internalize them, and it's sad.
Like this could be your brothers, fathers, sons, cousins, friends, or old acquaintances. I don't think it can be simultaneously true that we say everybody should get help, they all deserve compassion and understanding, but then demonize a clear growing trend that could bring economic and societal downturns just because it's cool to shit on men online. Which would probably sound better if it wasn't me, a man, saying this, but I am because it is important.
Yes.
The rise of the Tate cells, as well as the growing incel movement, hatred of women, conspiracy nuts, and a whole other host of issues exist because as a society, this issue is prevalent and persistent.
Yeah.
I think society in general is too busy looking at the surface of those, idiots who follow this stupid rhetoric to understand the reason that they do is because they're lost and these people are telling them that it's okay. These grifters that are making them believe all these crazy wild things are the only ones who are compassionately speaking to these men. They're making them believe, and the truth is they are speaking pure lies designed almost entirely for personal gain and enrichment. So let's talk about the real red pill. The reality.
I just wanted to stop it right there, but yeah, what he said there, I completely agree with. Yeah, it's funny. He said Tate cells, kind of like incels. Incels is a term for involuntary celibate, meaning that they would like to have a girlfriend or, but they can't get them. There's this, but he said Tate cells, so I guess that's people who follow Andrew Tate and believe everything he says. We need independent thinkers. You should be able to listen to this man and, not just believe everything he says. He has some good things. He has some good nuggets, and, but there's also other things that are going to be detrimental to you, trying to live a so-called normal life and act like Andrew Tate.
I'll tell you the matter is, the red pill does have some merit when taken at face value. There have been shifts in society that resulted in vastly different circumstances for everybody, but especially for young men. For starters, society has moved beyond where most people live, and if they live where society now does, they then lack the skills to interact in the real world. That as a sentence doesn't make sense, right? Let me explain. Society for most younger people, as well as for most lonely people, exists online. Their society exists on social media. But where is it that they need to be in order to actually better their situation? The real world with real people, face-to-face interactions and social situations. This problem is compounding. The more time people spend online, whether as an escape from the pressures of real life because they don't feel that they fit in, or for comfort, the less social they're going to become, the more awkward any potential interactions will go, and of course this leads to them being less and less likely to find the meaningful friendships or relationships that they need to live happily and normally. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy. And this is the problem that gets worse for the younger generation, especially after lockdowns where people have grown up on social media, hang out in person less, homeschool, go to college online, work remotely, date using apps, and generally skew towards hobbies that isolate them further. To put it simply, they spend less time with real people and therefore are less confident or capable people in face-to-face society, which is where they probably have the highest chance to meet people who are going to give them the things that they're missing in life and remove that loneliness.
I completely agree.
People nowadays have either grown up not learning how to socialize because of social media and the internet age, or they've forgotten, whichever one it is, they currently are not equipped with the tools to navigate the real world. You only have to look at cultures like Japan, where they literally have a word for this, hikikomori. We also have words in the West, neets, incel is obviously one that people throw around a lot when people are just, really bad at talking to women and, of course, are involuntary celibate. Losers, when people don't have friends and can't seem to get into good social situations. This is a problem that transcends barriers of culture. This is how you know it just exists and it's growing in popularity just due to the way that people interact with the world. This, of course, plays into the next problem, which is dating in 2023.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. But, like I said, I look at this from a Christian perspective. And a lot of the things that he's talking about with with men these days, it's a slow drift away from God. That's why the further away you get from the source of everything, the worse things will get in your life. And it's not going to be this, just fall off the cliff type of thing. It's going to be this gradual, slow, and you can, and like what he's talking about here is that, men don't even have the skills to, or the mindset to even walk up to a woman and just speak to her. Or even have the, to take rejection. They can't, I remember when I was I was like, 12, 13 years old, and we used to get on a city bus and we'd go to the mall, and there'd be probably like 4 or 5 of us, and we would just, we'd look at girls and we'd walk up to them and get rejected. I mean, that's all it was. It was just constant girls like, get away from me, But it was funny because at the time, it sucked, and you kind of were like, man, I'm getting rejected. But you were being rejected with your friends, so it was, and some of them got numbers, I guess, but you were like, okay, it was more, you were able to deal with it. But I can understand, and it made us better. It made us even more confident in speaking, to the opposite sex or, in general. But it's crazy nowadays. I mean, there's like everything has been moved online. Dating's online. All these dating apps. That's where you meet people. So, and I guess the only social interaction some guys could have that are maybe in their 20s or something is on a date. And that's like live fire right there, man. You're trying to figure out, what to say, how you look, all kinds of stuff I can imagine. But I've been married for like 25 years. I have 4 boys. And that's kind of why I fell into this red pill stuff. Started looking into it, and because my boys, they're on the battlefield. They're out there dating. You know what I mean? And that's what it used to be called, the battle of the sexes. That's what dating was. Because someone needs to lead, and someone needs to follow. And nowadays, it's like all these men are following the women, and that's not how you build a successful long-term family. Okay, it might work for years, it might work for this long, but if you want to get married, start a family, have children, and be successful, meaning that you don't have to be rich, you don't have to have the best car, the best house, but just meaning you're gonna raise decent people and contribute to your community, to society, and it's all good. But you need values, and you need a leader, and you need a man, I believe, to say, hey, this is the course that this family's on, this is the course that I'm on, and if you as a woman want to join me, get married, and we'll have children, but I'm the last say. I'm the one that says how this ship is going to go, and I mean, if we're just honest, that's not misogynist. It's just reality. Everything has a leader. Everyone has to listen to somebody. I have a leader. Even though I lead my family, I have a leader. His name is Jesus Christ. So I read my Bible, try to figure out how I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to do, try to be moral, and try to raise some decent human beings, contribute to this society, and but I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna make another video dating in 2023. I like this guy. He has a good perspective. He has some good insight. So like I said, in the description I'll have a full link to Kira TV, to his video. Go check him out, and take care. See you on the next one.